Okay, everybody, here we are. We've got our next full force video rocking. We're doing white black, and we've opened a good pack here because collective effort is really nice. I always want to call it concerted effort, which is a different card. Pretty sure it was from Ravnica, and it's about like giving creatures flying and stuff if they already have flying, things like that. I'm pretty sure that's a card. But anyways, collective effort is very good. I mean, it's removal, it's +1/+1 counter for every creature you control. It's very nice. We're going to be looking to pick up a lot of enchantments because this deck does seem to thrive off of getting some Ironclad Slayers and being able to like chain that with Boon of Emrakul or Choking Restraints or Bound by Moonsilver, or even sometimes just, rebuying Lunarch Mantles for value, things like that. But yeah, collective effort's pretty easy. We're missing out on some good red and green cards here. Noose Constrictor and Brazen Wolves are both very strong. So, I mean, those are good, but collective effort's still pretty nice. I think that collective effort's still probably the best card in that pack. Like, as much as Noose Constrictor is cool and as good as Brazen Wolves is, collective effort's very nice. Right, well, there's a Graph Rats, which after the Grand Prix, so this is my first full force episode since the Grand Prix, I have to say, Graph Rats really outperformed for me there. Combining Graph Rats and Midnight Scavengers, man, that card is insane. Like, when you get Chittering Host, you are very heavy percentages to win. That being said, I mean, Graph Rats should wheel. I don't have any Midnight Scavengers yet, which is obviously the more important part. Let's just grab the Courageous Outrider. The card's very good. I've been able to get a bunch of humans. And in black-white, that's generally what you're going to have. You're going to be... I tend to be more white when I do the black-white. So we'll see what happens. It's funny, this deck, more and more, I kind of didn't like it for a while. I was really down on it. I wasn't feeling excited about doing this full force episode again, because I haven't had a good black-white deck in a really long time. And then I went and played at a side event, which was, I mean, not even a side event, at the GP. We went to a bowling alley, and we did a draft there with a bunch of people. And I was passing to somebody who first picked Ulrich. So I knew that they had Ulrich, and I knew it should just stay out of red and green. So I first pick, first pack, I see Galvanic Bombardment, and I'm like, ugh. And instead I take Courageous Outrider. And I end up in black-white, and the first pack goes horribly for me. But, like, after that, the black-white just kind of flowed, and the deck was great. Like, it was really good. So, I'm kind of stuck on this. I don't know if the deck's good, I don't know if the deck's bad. It's really kind of a wild card for me. I think Campaign of Vengeance should wheel, but it's really strong. I'm going to just take it anyways. It's too good, I think, to pass up. The card's really awesome if you can get it going, and I can build around it when I take it this early. Cultist Staff would be a pretty good pickup, because there's a lot of little creatures that I'm going to be playing with if I'm in black-white. So Cultist Staff, just upgrading all your, like, 1/1 spirits from Spectral Reserves and all that kind of stuff is really nice. But, I mean, there is Sigardian Priest, and I am not passing Sigardian Priest for Cultist Staff. Sigardian Priest taps down too much stuff for me to possibly pass it here. Skursdag Supplicant is okay. Really late Galvanic Bombardment here. 5th pick. Oof. Red is stupid open. We've already passed 2 Brazen Wolves as well, so somebody's going to get a nut red deck. We're taking Steadfast Cathar, though, because, hello, full force. We're taking the white-black cards. We know how this works already. Alright, Skursdag Supplicant. Well, that is a decent enough card. It is another humans, so it does get picked up by Courageous Outrider, which is not inconsequential. I'd love to get an Ironclad Slayer. Like, I don't have any payoff for it yet, but I know that there is payoff for it, and I'd rather take it than, like, a random Skursdag Supplicant, because then I at least know that if I get, like, a Boon of Emrakul or a Choking Restraints, that the Ironclad Slayer is going to be kind of awesome, whereas Skursdag's just always going to be super medium. Card's just never that good. Spontaneous Mutation is the best card in the pack. I might want Iron Right's Cleansing, though, just as a sideboard card. I think I'd just take one. There are still some, enchantments running around that I need to get rid of. Well, I might not be the one ending up with the Choking Restraints, that's for sure. Alright, Steadfast Cathar is good. Not amazing, but it's something that I'll take. I don't need Weirded Vampire. I'm probably not going to be, like, getting value off of Skursdag Supplicant by doing things like that. Alright, I think Steadfast Cathar. I don't like Desperate Sentry as much as I thought I would. It just, for some reason in the white-black deck, I have trouble getting Delirium. And so I think that I'd rather have the 2-drop. They're fairly close anyways, and so then I generally want to err on the side of having a lower-end creature anyways. I tend to follow the rule that, like, when in doubt, if 2 cards are really close in your mind, just pick the one that's, like, lower converted mana cost. Try and be lower to the ground. You always pick up cards that are expensive later. Spectral Reserves, sure, sounds good. Like, there's a lot of expensive cards that end games, and you can pick them up. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. The bigger problem that you'll have in your deck, like 95% of the time, is not, like, finishing games. It's going to be surviving to finish a game. So I tend to prefer to take the lower end cards. And I mean, sometimes too, if you just take lower power level cards, but they're all just cheap, you just end up in an aggro deck and you just beat people down before they have a chance to recover anyways. So there's a lot of advantages to just taking the cheaper card. Lunarch Mantle, I kind of like. I mean, it's not amazing, but I've come up on the card a bit. I didn't like it at all at first, but being able to give the flying was better than I thought. I think that the card is playable now. I don't love it. There's no question that, like, Lunarch Mantle is not the card that I'm like, oh yeah, let's jam. But, yeah, I mean, sometimes you got a bunch of stupid Steadfast Cathars and you just gotta make them fly. Let's go Spontaneous Mutation, I suppose. Seems fine. I don't want to play against Spontaneous Mutation. This card's still being severely underrated if it's going this late. I underrated it myself for a very long time. I'll just straight up admit it. I think that I said that in one of the last videos, that, like, Spontaneous Mutation, I constantly look at it and I'm like, I can always pick it up later. It tends to go around the table, and, like, you can't just do that. You can't think that it's just going to go around the table, because the card's really strong. Like, I like the card a lot. So I recommend, if you're in blue, like, pick up at least one, you know, fairly early. Think about spending a real pick on it, because they might not wheel, and you're probably going to want at least one in most blue decks, if not more. Dawngryff is pretty good. I'm in a dilemma here, because I know this card, I actually just sold it so I could buy packs. So it's like $7 or something. Actually, no, it's only $5 as a foil mythic. It should go up closer to set rotation, because when set rotation happens and they're gonna not send these out as a redemption anymore, it's like redemption rotation, I guess, not set rotation. But when redemption comes up and it's almost done where you can't redeem the Shadows over Innistrad, Eldritch Moon block, then this should go up a lot, because people will want to be buying them to finish off their sets of foils. But let's just take the Dawngryff. I'll just pass $5 card, no big deal. I like Gavony Unhallowed, but we're kind of leaning aggressive, and I think that I'm just going to keep doing that, since that it does look like the direction we're going is just to lean far forward. Man, there are some good cards in this pack. They're not in our colors. Somberwald Stag, Ingenious Scob. Ugh. I hate passing both of those. The worst part is that I think that I'm just taking Olivia's Dragoon. Like, Abundant Maw seems fine. Like, it's even good. But it doesn't seem great in this deck. This deck's just so aggressive right now. I think that we just take the Dragoon. I need to get a Cultist Staff or something, though, because our Steadfast Cathars are going to get stonewalled fast. Like, if somebody has any kind of, like, 3-4, how are we going to get through on the ground? We just can't. So we need to plan for that. Borrowed Grace might be a way for us to do it. Dusk Feaster does not seem great. 7-drop is going to be, like, it's going to be a 7-drop probably 75, maybe even like 80 to 90% of the time. I think that you need it to be 5 a fair bit to really justify playing it. Like, probably more like 50% of the time it needs to be a 5. Or you have to have a deck that's designed to go quite late. Our deck is not designed to do that at all right now, so it just seems like a terrible plan. I think we'll just grab the Borrowed Grace. Like, it makes up a little bit for our shortcomings here. I'd love to get another Dawngryff or something. Something else with evasion. Wow. These are all pretty bad. I guess Faithbearer. I want to be leaning in, though, so maybe the Supplicant's just better. I guess. I mean, I don't love the Supplicant, but it does go into the late game reach category where I can just kind of finish games slowly over multiple turns. Subjugator Angel is nice. Like, I did say I wanted Evasion, and this is kind of like that. I mean, if you're ahead on life, you can just end a game with Scourge's Egg Supplicant. There's nothing wrong with that. Subjugator Angel seems awesome. I would love a Cryptolith Fragment. I would not mind Certain Death. Guardian of Pilgrims would even be okay, but yeah, Subjugator Angel just seems better than all those options. I think it goes Subjugator, then Cryptolith, and then Certain Death. And Cryptolith only because I'm so aggressive right now. I'm really forward-leaning, so it makes sense. Choking Restraints and Ironclad Slayer. Well, isn't that an embarrassment? This pack is sick, though. Man, Grizzled Angler, Ingenious Scob, Alchemist Greeting, Choking Restraints, Slayer. This is like, everybody took green-black from this pack, apparently. Well, I had to take the Choking Restraints. There's no way I'm taking the Ironclad Slayer over the card that it's supposed to get, so makes no sense. So Guardian Priest number 2 is okay. It's kind of weird because right now we're... Normally in the white-black deck, it ends up being like white-black value, you know, doing the whole Ironclad Slayer, Choking Restraints, ton of removal kind of deck, and this is not that at all. Right now this is an aggro deck. Normally I think Sigardian Priest is awesome in this deck, but it might not fit as well here just because we're trying to be so aggressive. And this is a really defensive card. Like, it's good, but it's also very defensive. That being said, I don't know. I'm not going to take Drogskull Shieldmate over it. The card's fine, but it's just not Sigardian Priest. Sigardian Priest is powerful enough. I should probably take it anyways. Splash for a ride down. I think that this would have been like a really good position to be in for a red-white aggro deck. We saw a lot of good red cards in pack 1, like double Brazen Wolves, the late Galvanic Bombardment. If we'd have actually cut red, our red-white deck could have been insane. We're so forward-leaning with our white. Yeah, it would have been really good. Take the Faith Bearer, though. Not be too sad. Ooh, Gavany Unhallowed. I mean, I like Abundant Maw. Ooh, and there's Cultist Staff. This pack is sick. This is really good for us. Like, these are the cards that we wanted to wheel. Cultist Staff is really nice to upgrade all of our little guys. I like Abundant Maw. I really do like this card, but I just think that our deck's so aggressive that I don't really want it. And Gavany Unhallowed just is so good in this kind of an aggressive deck because they try and board stall us out by like playing 3/4s or something to stop our 2/3s, and then we just run them in anyways and make a big creature. Like, I like the idea of being able to do that with the Gavany because you just throw things in anyways. Hopefully we can pick up a True Faith Sensor in the last pack, because we do have a lot of humans. Borrowed Malevolence or Fiendbinder. I've been really down on Fiendbinder. Problem is that it just trades immediately. Like, they know that it's coming. It's not like Olivia Voldaren Duelist, where they can play around it. They can't play around it. Like, you're just going to surprise them with a haste creature, and they can't block out of nowhere. So a lot of times you just kind of catch them by surprise, which is the advantage of, like, Voldaren Duelist. Fiendbinder, you play it, and then they know. Like, they're not going to attack with their other creature or whatever. If they have 2/2/2s, they're not going to attack with them, so they just hold them back. And then you have your Fiendbinder there, and what do? You're going to run it into 2/2/2s? You can tap the 1, but unless you have a trick or something, you're kind of screwed. You're just going to lose it. You get 1 turn of hit off of it. It's like, yeah, I got to make a creature unblockable and trade down. That's not where I want to be. Like, so many times I have played the Fiendbinder, and like, the best that it's done is trade for like a Gissa's Bidding 2/2 token and get in like 2 extra damage, which for 4 mana is just really underwhelming. So this is a pretty bad pack. I mean, there's Solitary Hunter for somebody, but yeah, not a whole lot. Ghoul Caller's Accomplice, Thraben Inspector, and True Faith Sensor, all good for our deck. I actually am going to slam True Faith, though. Thraben Inspector is real nice. I love this card, but we have so many humans, and we really need a way to upgrade them. True Faith Sensor just makes too much sense. Gotta grab it. Wow. This is a pack. Here's my #1 favorite card in all of Shadows over Innistrad, Ulvenwald Mysteries. I've come around to the fact that Ongoing Investigation is probably just better, and by probably I mean Ongoing Investigation is just way better, but goddamn if I don't love Ulvenwald Mysteries. This card is just sick. Like, it doesn't mean that Ulvenwald Mysteries isn't really strong. The card's really, really gross. It's very hard to win a game where your opponent gets like 2 or 3 clues off of this. That being said, I mean, I don't really want to splash color, so I think I just take Paranoid Parish Blade. Vessel of Ephemera, maybe I can pick up later, and then we can have a chance at getting Delirium, which will make the Paranoid Parish Blade and the Desperate Sentry better, i.e. playable, because right now, Desperate Sentry at least really isn't. Whoa, baby. Alright, we're cooking. Dahlia's Lieutenant. How many humans do we actually have? We have a lot of humans, I think. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 humans. Yeah, that seems good. I think... What am I going to cut here? I'm just thinking of cards that I don't want. I might cut out the Borrowed Grace. I think that the Lunarch Mantle just gets straight up replaced by the True Faith Sensor. I wonder if I even want the Dragoon. I want 2 drops, though. Like I said, I am pretty low to the ground. I want to stay that way. Nearheath Chaplain. Well, thank you, sir. I would not mind a Nearheath Chaplain. More 1/1 spirits for the Campaign of Vengeance, and another human with lifelink. It's just everything that I want. Yeah. Might take out Supplicant. Maybe the Desperate Sentry. Desperate Sentry is not doing anything yet. We still don't have a way to really get Delirium. Like, there's no straight path to getting it. We don't have an enchantment that we can put into the graveyard. Like, there's the Choking Restraints, but that's so slow. Like, oh, man. Unless we're relying on our opponent, like, emerging the creature that we restraints, which... I don't want to have to do that. Like, I don't want my cards to end up being bad. Like, my Choking Restraints to just not really do what I want it to do just to make my other cards work. It seems like a really bad position to be in. You don't want to be praying that your good cards get, like, countered by your opponents just so that, like, your mediocre cards can get good. Devilthorn Fox? I mean, I guess. Wildfield Scarecrow does help with Delirium. But am I ever going to actually use that? It's possible. It would let me splash a color, which is kind of nice. Devilthorn Fox is fine, but I have a lot of 2s. It's not a human, which is pretty significant downside right now. So I think... I guess what, like, Devilthorn does have its uses. If somebody's, like, really slow, or I can just side out, like, a Subjugator or Faith Bearer or something and put in more 2-drops. So having it in the side is not a bad idea. I was just like, when am I going to side in a Devilthorn Fox? Oh, there's another Devilthorn. This time I'm taking Strength of Arms, though. Strength of Arms seems like the card that this deck wants. We're trying to be so aggressive. We've got to find a way to push through damage, and that does it. Thalia's Lieutenant's another way, but... like, I don't have a lot of equipment and tricks right now. Borrowed Malevolence, kind of. Survive the Night is certainly reasonable. I don't think I want Macabre Waltz. Alright. Topplegeist. I like Topplegeist. Ghoulsteed is okay. Puncturing Light. This is an interesting card in this deck, because if I come up across another aggro deck, I probably want a Puncturing Light, because I can just win races out of nowhere because of it. It's not quite as good as Blessed Alliance in that regard. Like, Blessed Alliance is win target race when you're in an aggro matchup, but I mean, Puncturing Light's not terrible. If you're just going to sit there and smash at each other with stupid, like, 2/3s or something, then Puncturing Light's not a bad card to have. I think I like the upside of Topplegeist, though. Thraben Inspector Wield. Wow, that's nice. Sweet deal for me. I'll take it. Inspiring Captain? I don't even know what to cut anymore. We have a lot of good cards. I probably shouldn't have taken the second Survive the Night. There was an Expose Evil. I'm probably never playing it, but I should... I'd rather have the option of 1 Survive the Night, 1 Expose Evil, rather than double Survive the Night. I'm just going a little fast. I'm just grabbing the last few cards because I'm trying to think about what I actually want to play in this deck now. Vessel of Ephemera does give us a route to actually get Delirium, too. And Topplegeist, unlike... where is it? The stupid Desperate Sentry, that's what it is a real payoff for Delirium. Like, Desperate Sentry becomes good when you have Delirium, and it's pretty medium otherwise. This is just, you know, great when you have Delirium. And it's not totally unplayable otherwise. I mean, it's certainly not great, but just the threat of you being able to activate it at some point, people generally waste some kind of removal on it. Like, if it was just a 1/1 with no text, like with flying and no other text, like obvious, like or tap target creature an opponent controls when it comes into play, then sure, the card would be super bad. But the fact that you can just threaten Delirium, your opponent doesn't know that you can't get it. And this card is just way too scary if you can activate Delirium every turn. So there's going to be a lot of times where they just like crack off a Galvanic Bombardment or whatever against it anyways. And then you can play, your real threat, which in this deck is a Steadfast Cathar, and try and get in there with that instead. So we've got 29 playable cards. We need to cut 6 right now. Oof. Alright. Thank you, Magic, for booting me out. Let's go... What do we do? I don't think I want Inspiring Captain. I don't mind the card, but I've got a fair number of 4s already. And like I said, we want to be leaning fairly forward. Like, we want to be low to the ground. It doesn't really help us that way. Topplegeist. I can take out Skursdag Supplicant. I could maybe take out Spectral Reserves. The problem is it's really good with Campaign of Vengeance. I think I'm okay with that, though. The Campaign of Vengeance can be fine on its own anyways. I'll just swarm with Steadfast Cathars. I do have this Vessel of Ephemera that I think I want to play because of the Topplegeist. Like, it does make so much sense. We need to cut 3 more cards because we've got 26. Yeah. Board Malevolence can leave. I've got the Strength of Arms to make up for it. It's just a better card. What else do we take out? I don't want to take out a Sigardian Priest. I'm a little sad taking out humans, too. Because Thalia's Lieutenant wants a lot of humans. I like the Gavany Unhallowed a lot, but maybe I should just take it. I mean, I could realistically just, like, cut Subjugator Angel and try and go, like, 16 lands or something, go really aggro, but, man, Subjugator Angel is so good. That just seems super wrong. It doesn't seem right at all to cut a Subjugator Angel, because that card's just going to end so many games for us. If we top out at 6 and just play Subjugator, I don't know how our opponent wins. Survive the Night could get cut. I do have the Strength. I want some tricks. Collective Effort's okay. I mean, I guess that the way that we can bust through is we've got Supplicant, Unhallowed, Subjugator Angel, Campaign of Vengeance. Like, these are the ways that we break out of, like, board stalls. Collective Effort, the Thalia's Lieutenant, True Fate Sensor, and Strength of Arms. So that's not that bad that we need Survive the Night. I'm a little worried about how little removal we have. I mean, we have Collective Effort and Choking Restraints, and then Priests, I guess. So I do really want Topplegeist, because if I can get Delirium, how can I get it, though? I have Instant. I don't have any sorceries, right? Like, I have a Vessel of Ephemera, so that's an enchantment. This is a sorcery. Pretty sure Collective Effort is. Why is it not? There we go. Yes, that's a sorcery, but there's only one. I think maybe I just cut these. Maybe just cut those together. I can play, like, a Supplicant or Inspiring Captain again. Or just Survive the Night, because I have 17 creatures already, and I probably just want a way to push them through. Not a bad idea. I like Topplegeist, but it doesn't seem very likely at all that I get Delirium. I know that I said that it's somewhat acceptable anyways, just because the threat of Delirium can give it a bit of an edge. People will try and kill it for that, but yeah, with this few ways to actually enable it, I don't feel like it's great. Dragoon helps, I suppose, but it's just not good. If I had Wicker Witches even, or Field Creepers, something like that, I would think about it, but yeah, there's just no real reason. So we're going to go to like an 11-6, I think. We don't really need more than 11. We only have 1 double white card. No, 2. I guess we have Subjugator Angel, but that's we're not going to worry about having double white by turn 6 or 7 or something. Collective Effort's the only one that we might want earlier. So 14-3 is what it says. That's just wrong. But like we're not gonna need more than 11 white sources because we just have 1 double white, and we're with 10. You're pretty much gonna be drawing planes as your lands. If you have a hand with lands, it's probably gonna have some number of planes in it when you open up your 7. So I think this is fine. We want to be able to play like Olivia's Dragoon on curve if possible. Alright, I'll do that. I almost would go 10-7, honestly, just because then for sure you're hitting your black cards on curve. One of the main reasons why I'm not here is just because, like, yeah, hitting Olivia's Dragoon on curve is good, but it's not amazing. It's not... I don't have an insane black card that I'm trying to curve out to. I don't have, like... for sure, if I had something like Crypt Breaker, right? Crypt Breaker, you know, you're going to want to have some black sources to activate it and to curve out to it. I'm trying to think of, like, another really good black 2-drop. The fact that I can't probably says a lot about why black is just not that good in this format. I guess, like, Rancid Rats is probably one of the better ones. Dragoon is actually one of the better ones, which, yeah, really says something. The card's not bad, but it's not what I'd think of as, like, premier 2-drop kind of card. It's not great. Alright, well, let's go to round 1, and... see how the deck does. Ugh. I'm on the draw. That is tough. Thalia's Lieutenant is quite a card to have here. That is so awkward. Oh man. If I don't get a land, I'm screwed. But if I get land, I go like Cathar, and Lieutenant even. That seems fine.